Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we read taking a deep dive into the history of arguably the most iconic superhero of all time, Superman. For over 80 years, the Man of Steel has been a symbol of hope, truth, and justice. But how did he come to be, and how has he changed over the decades? Let's find out. Our story begins in 1938 in the pages of Action Comics #1. Two young creators from Cleveland, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, introduced the world to a character unlike any other. This was the Golden Age Superman. He was a champion of the oppressed, a social crusader who fought against corrupt politicians, slumlords, and gangsters. He could leap tall buildings in a single bound, run faster than a locomotive, and nothing less than a bursting shell could pierce his skin. He wasn't quite the godlike figure we know today, but he was exactly what a society grappling with the Great Depression needed, a powerful friend to the common man. His origin was simple: a dying planet, a desperate scientist, and a small rocket ship carrying the last hope of his race to Earth, found and raised by the Kents. Clark Kent used his incredible powers for the good of mankind. The success was immediate and explosive. Superman wasn't just a comic book character. He was a phenomenon. As America entered World War II, Superman's role evolved. He became a patriotic symbol, boosting morale on the home front. While he rarely fought directly on the front lines in the comics, it was explained that his involvement would escalate the war unfairly. He was often depicted selling war bonds and taking on spies and saboteurs. This era also gave us the famous Superman radio show, which further cemented his place in popular culture and introduced key elements to his lore, like the element kryptonite, his greatest weakness, and his friendship with reporter Jimmy Olsen. The animated shorts by Fleischer Studios from the early 40s are legendary. They were the first time audiences saw Superman fly, a power that would become synonymous with the character forever. These beautifully animated cartoons defined his look and feel for a generation, with their dramatic action and stunning Art Deco style. After the war, the 50s brought the Silver Age of comics, and with it, a new take on Superman. The stories became more whimsical and science fiction oriented. This was the era of the Fortress of Solitude, Krypto the Superdog, Supergirl, and the Bottle City of Kandor. Superman's powers grew to astronomical levels. He could move planets, travel through time, and his strength seemed virtually limitless. The focus shifted from social justice to grand cosmic adventures. This is also when we got the classic television series, Adventures of Superman, starring George Reeves. For many, Reeves became the definitive live-action Superman. His portrayal was warm and fatherly, a friendly, reassuring presence who was always there to save the day. The show's famous opening, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, became a cultural touchstone. The 60s and 70s saw Superman continuing his sci-fi adventures, but change was on the horizon. The world was changing, and comics were changing with it. In 1978, a movie was released that would change superhero films forever: Superman, the movie. Directed by Richard Donner and starring the unforgettable Christopher Reeve, the film's tagline was "You'll believe a man can fly," and we did. Reeves' performance was perfect. He captured both the bumbling charm of Clark Kent and the noble sincerity of Superman. He made you believe in the hero. The film was a critical and commercial smash hit, proving that superheroes could be the subject of serious epic filmmaking. It spawned a series of sequels that defined Superman for the 80s, blending action, romance, and humor. Following the universe-altering comic event Crisis on Infinite Earths in the mid-80s, DC Comics decided it was time to reboot Superman for a modern audience. Writer and artist John Byrne was tasked with the job. In his 1986 miniseries, The Man of Steel, Byrne scaled back Superman's powers, making him more vulnerable and relatable. He also made Clark Kent the real personality and Superman the disguise, a significant shift from previous interpretations. Lex Luthor was reimagined from a mad scientist into a corrupt, power-hungry billionaire, a corporate villain who couldn't stand the fact that he couldn't control or own Superman. This modern era led to one of the biggest comic book events of the 90s, the death of Superman, the epic battle against the monster Doomsday. Ending with Superman's apparent death was a massive cultural event that made mainstream news all over the world. Of course, he eventually returned, but it showed that even the Man of Steel was not invincible. The new millennium brought Superman to the small screen again with the hit TV show Smallville. It explored the life of a young Clark Kent before he became Superman, focusing on his high school years in Kansas, his friendships, his first love, and his struggles with his emerging powers. For 10 seasons, it gave us a deep, character-driven look at the man before the cape. On the big screen, 2006's Superman Returns, directed by Bryan Singer, served as a nostalgic homage to the Christopher Reeve films. Then, in 2013, director Zack Snyder launched the DC Extended Universe with Man of Steel. This film offered a grittier, more conflicted interpretation of the character, starring Henry Cavill. It explored the challenges a superpowered alien would face in a modern, cynical world, and led to his team-ups with other heroes in Batman v Superman and Justice League, and that brings us to today. Superman continues to thrive in comics, on television in shows like Superman and Lois, which explores his life as a husband and father, and in animation. A new film, Superman, is on the way from director James Gunn, promising to introduce a new generation to the last son of Krypton. From a social crusader in the 30s to a patriotic symbol in the 40s, a cosmic explorer in the 50s, a cinematic icon in the 70s, and a complex modern hero today. Superman has constantly been reinterpreted. But through all these changes, his core remains the same. He is a symbol of our best selves, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. He is an immigrant who embraces his new home and uses his gifts to protect it. He is a hero who inspires us to look up, not just into the sky, but to be better versions of ourselves. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the history of Superman. What's your favorite version of the Man of Steel? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite characters. See you next time.